Which car would you get rid of?
I don't care.
If you had to pick right now, we had to sell one, somebody's here, they want to buy one of them, which would you sell?
I don't care.
This is terrible decision making.
I'm sorry.
This is terrible. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Of course, this is TWA Motorsports, and today we are back on the SS. Now, you guys may or may not know, in the last video, I got this thing running, and the only real thing we have to do is, I really need to drive it down the road. I haven't done that yet, and I need to get the front bumper back on. So, if you guys have been paying attention in the last videos, you noticed that the original piece, and I've got a big mess here, but the original piece here that went in the center is all busted up. I don't know if whoever did the install the supercharger did that, or if it was the person that did the paint protective film, because it does have clear brawl on the front, but they completely destroyed a lot of my clips, and so I'm gonna have to get pretty creative putting the new piece in. But I did order a new one of these. So this is that center, the big center section that goes obviously in the middle of that, and well, I think this will go back in fine. But this trim ring that goes around the outside, that snapped in two when I took it off, and those stupid things are like $300 a piece. So what I did was, a lot of my clips are broken off. I have been doing body work, and guys, I'm not a body work guy, believe me. You can see that there's a clip here. There's supposed to be one here. Same thing on the other side. A lot of those clips are broken, so chances are we're gonna have to probably glue that back in. But I didn't have the clips, so I couldn't put them back on. What I have been doing though is I have been wet sanding, and basically I glued it back together and just used some 2-part epoxy to glue it back together, and I've sanded it all down smooth, and I went over it at first with some filler primer because it did have some rock chips in it, and sanded it again, went over it again with the primer, basically a couple steps of that. Then I went on to a sealer. So that's the stage we're at now. Now the color, it's not just regular black. It's called Phantom Black Metallic. I believe that's the way they pronounce it, but that is what this is. And of course, guys, I'll list all this stuff down below. This is supposed to match perfect. Now, whether it does or not, we are going to see, because that is the next step here. I'm going to spray this black. So hopefully, if you see this thing out in the sun, it has kind of some specks of metallic in it. And so what I'm hoping is that we get a close enough match to where it's not going to stick out like crazy. And I think it probably will be. So I'm gonna go spray this. I'm not gonna show you guys because I can't hold the camera and spray this really, and I'm doing it outside. So it's really not the best conditions to be painting, but that's the step we have to take in order to get the front end back on this thing and get it back on the road out of my garage, and so we can move other projects in. So I'll show you guys between coats. So after I coat it once, I'll show you guys what it looks like, and hopefully we'll be able to see if it's gonna match. And then once I'm all finished up and go on with the clear, as you can see, this kit came with the clear and the paint, I'll show you that finished product, and then we'll talk about how we're going to possibly install it back on that bumper. So guys, this is after 3 coats, and I have to say this paint is awesome. It actually matches really well, and I'll show you guys what it looks like after I put clear on it. I haven't put any clear on it yet, and so I think it takes a couple coats of clear is what they call for. But out in the sun, the metallic flake, like it's on that centerpiece, is spot on. So I'm really impressed with this paint. I thought it was kind of expensive because it was like 48 bucks or 43 bucks, something like that, for both of these. And then obviously these guys were separate, but I think it's worth it. It seems to be laying down really, really well. And anyway, I'm impressed. So I'll show you guys once I get it clear coated, but then we have to let it set for about 3 days, which obviously, guys, in video land, you don't have to set and wait with me. So I'll show you guys once I get it cleared, and then we will cut to me trying to get all this stuff put together. So I wanted to show you guys, this is with 3 coats of paint and 3 coats of clear. And while it does have, I mean, it has some orange peel in it. I mean, that's to be expected when you're using a spray can, but it looks really good. The paint match is really good, guys, and honestly, this looks better than the way it looked before I took it off. So I don't know if they paint these with a can or what, but it does look good. So we're gonna let this dry for probably a couple more days. It says 3 days before we hit it with some buffing compound, and to be honest, I don't even know that I'm gonna do that, but I am gonna let it set for a couple days, and then we'll get it installed and get this thing the rest of the way together. So I've got my new piece here, and I did go ahead and put the black plastic that I've been painting on in. And honestly, guys, I probably should have ordered another one. It just, almost all of the clips are broken, so hopefully it's going to stay. And I did mess up the paint, so all that work. And when I was putting it together, I got some glue. I was trying to glue this area right here, and the glue came out on the front side. So I'm going to have to touch that up. But that's the way it goes, honestly. When you're not the one that takes stuff apart, sometimes, you know, it's broken. So you can see the difference between the old one there and the new one. You see that grill that was cut out of the bottom one. So now I'm going to attempt to put this in, and it goes in from the front, or from the back side, and we're probably going to have to glue some sections there too, because there's a bunch of broken tabs off the bottom. Now this, what I'm planning on doing is probably putting it in and then setting up some epoxy just to keep the bottom in. So chances are it probably isn't going to come back apart, but yeah, I don't like doing things this way, guys, but I refuse to buy a new front bumper just because of those broken tabs. And then the same thing with this, you know, this big piece was $170, I think, but the little trim ring is $300. So tell me how that makes sense. It doesn't. So I'm gonna go ahead, shove this in the front here, see if we can get it set up, and so the next thing you guys will see is me putting it on the car. Now obviously I'll probably show you guys, I do have to put the park assist sensors back in. That's not really a big deal, they just snap into place. But I'll probably wait and do that until after this glue is set up. So I went ahead and snapped the grill into place, and you can see where I've epoxied. So essentially it's supposed to snap on these, and all the top ones are good, but on the bottom they're all broken. So you can see where I put epoxy on those. So this bumper, guys, will never come back apart. I mean, you're gonna have to cut those off in order to get apart. And no, this is not really the right way to do it. The only right way to do it would be to buy a whole new front bumper, but I don't want to go through having to paint it. This car I'm going to sell, and not that I would like to pass this off on somebody else, but there's just a ton of money involved in getting a bumper shipped and then trying to match the paint. So honestly, this is the best way to do it, and I didn't really want to put glue on my new piece, but that's what we have to do. So I'm going to let this set for probably a day at least, and then we'll see if we can fix my screw up out here where the paint's at. But basically at this point I'm going to let it set, then we'll get the emblem back in place, we'll get the park assist sensors back in place, and get this thing back on the car and out of the garage so we can move on to other projects. Got this set for a couple days, and now we're back out here ready to put our park assist sensors back in. And guys, these literally just snap into place here. I don't know, I don't think they're side specific, so it doesn't really matter. And it's like the windiest day of the year out, I swear. Put this in, they clip in like that. Of course we'll plug them in afterwards. And as far as the SS emblem goes, I'll probably wait and put that in until after the bumper's on. But now that we've got those on, I'm going to go ahead and plug them in. And then you have your main harness, obviously, that we need to plug in on the car here. So I'm going to set you guys up on the tripod, and let's get this bumper back into place finally. So I'm ready to lift this thing up into place. I probably should have somebody out here helping me, to be honest with you, but I don't. So I'm going to attempt to plug this in while I'm holding everything. Maybe easier said than done. Just one plug over here on the passenger side. It is plugged in. Now we can put this thing up into place. Now I don't know if you guys remember, but these guys, they kind of just snap into place here on the side. Don't be afraid to get rough with it. So now I think what we'll do is I'll go ahead and get the bolts for the top side here, get it into place. Man, that's loose. I don't necessarily love these clips, but the front end looks a lot better, guys. It's not all scratched up and there's no movement here like there was before, and obviously we have our grid in place. We don't have that cutout piece, so you can't see everything behind it, which looks a lot better. But anyway, I'm gonna go grab the bolts for the top side, and then as far as the bottom goes, I'll probably lift it back up to do those. So up top here, there's just several little 10 millimeters or Phillips to put in place. Quite a few, honestly. And then for some weird reason, there's a couple of these plastic clips that just literally push in. I say that I'm gonna have to pull them apart a little bit. They're like the ones where the center comes up. Have to go grab something to put those in, but we're gonna go ahead, tighten all these guys up, and then those clips just go here and here, and then we can get the closeout panel on the top, which is, I think those are Torx bits if I remember correctly. You don't know how excited I am to get this bumper on, because I've been moving it in and out of the garage 100 times to get the Corvette out or to move stuff around. It's just been so ready to get this thing out of here, guys. I do still have to put some loom on a couple things, and then for some reason, I'll show you here in a little bit, on the top of the hood, they took some of the pins out that hold the protector in, and they just didn't put them back in. So I got some new ones of those as well. Anyway, I'm gonna tighten these up, then I'll probably clean this up just a little bit, and I'm gonna go grab that other panel, the closeout panel. So now we have all those bolts tight, and I've got the little push pins in place. Like I said, I really don't understand the point of that. Maybe they just couldn't put a bolt there, but now we've got the closeout panel. And you do have to move it around because it has to go underneath the grill here. Just like that. And it looks like I did these four a little too soon, so I'm going to take those back out because obviously they go on the top side of this, which is not a big deal. And then what is it, a T20 for these 6 along the front leading edge. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten all this down, then I'll probably wipe this down real good, and then we'll go up to the hood and I'll show you guys what I was talking about there. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I've got all these bolts down here tightened. These little guys that hold this in, I'm not even really sure how it was staying in place, because it only had the pieces in the back where it tucks in and like 4 of these front ones in place. I kept wondering why this was loose. That's because it didn't have any of these in it. So once again, not sure who did this stuff, if it was the people who did the paint protective film or the supercharger install, and you can obviously see the supercharger did hit, so maybe it was them that did that. But I'm going to slide all these back in. These are just common push-in pins, nothing real fancy here. I couldn't find the exact size, so I just found close enough. Anyway, once we get that, we're going to lift this thing up and get that under tray on. And guys, we are seriously close to being finished at that point. So at this point, guys, all I have left is to put the liner and a few bolts in. And this thing is a lot of fun, I'll tell you. Kind of sandwiches in between. All this stuff. Here's one side. And there's the other side. So now all we got to do is put all of our bolts in. And we should be set. So now that I got it up in the air, I am going to go ahead and put the SS emblem on. I'm going to use some adhesive remover just to make sure we get a good solid mount here. And I went ahead off camera and I put two-sided tape on this, and then I used an X-Acto knife to cut around everything. So it's ready to go on. You just want to make sure you don't put it on upside down. There is a certain way. I went back and forth on which way it should go on there, but I'm gonna have to go get an X-Acto knife to peel the tape off, but that is the direction that it goes. This is a little longer on this side, so if you put it like this, it would be upside down. And it's kind of cut out on the bumper, but just make sure you get it right side up. Otherwise, people on the internet will roast you. So I got all the tape off, so let's see if we can get it in here somewhat straight. I think that's pretty straight. And that two-sided tape, guys, it's 3M. It's a little bit crooked. Oh, it makes me crazy. Oh well. I don't think anybody will notice. It needed to go a little bit that way, and this side needed to come down, but it's kind of hard to get that completely straight. If it bothers me too much, I can always take it back off and retape it. It just took forever to cut that tape out the way I wanted it. Oh man, guys, so the last thing we need to do is I need to pull this thing, holy cow. I need to pull this thing off the lift, and we need to tighten up the bolts that go into the inner fender. So from the felt liner into the actual front bumper, you can't really get to those without taking the wheels off unless you turn the wheels. So we're gonna start this thing up, pull it off the lift, which is exciting, and see if we can get those last bolts tightened. So as you guys see, it pulled off the lift for the first time. I'm so excited. So, sorry it's really windy out, guys, but these few pieces here are the last things that I need to tighten down. And they're just like T20s, but you just can't get to them with the wheel not turned. So I'm gonna turn the wheels on both sides, get these things tight, and we are going to be complete. So what I'll do is I'm gonna drive it up and down the road. I'll take you guys with me. We can listen for anything that might be weird. It doesn't sound like it. I mean, I've had it idling for a while. No weird things have went on. So we'll just have to see. So it's another day, and what we're gonna do today, guys, is we're gonna take this thing out for a drive before I clean it up. And so what I've done is I drove it up and down the road, let it run for a little bit. I've checked all the fluids. We're good there. There's one other thing I want to do though before we go for a drive, and this is really not anything related to what we've been doing, but I hate these floor mats. So WeatherTech floor mats are great for like farm trucks, but why do we put them in like a sedan? I just don't get it. Maybe if you're daily driving this in the winter, which we obviously are not, I just don't like them. So what I did was I got on Facebook Marketplace, and there's an SS group, and a guy had these stock floor mats for sale. So we're gonna yank those things out of there, kind of clean these up. And one of the main reasons, sorry, this thing is beeping, it's making me crazy. One of the things I don't like about them is even when they're clean, the first time you touch them with your foot, they look like that. So obviously these aren't really clean right now, but even if I clean them up, the very first time I get in it, they're gonna look like crap. So I'm gonna vacuum this thing out. We're gonna go grab those other floor mats that I bought and see if we can get those in. Now they're just the factory ones, so nothing fancy. I didn't realize how cheap they were, to be honest with you. I think they're like 120 bucks directly from GM for the super nice ones, and then I think they're like 90 bucks for just the stock replacements. So the stock replacements is all I got, and I got them way cheaper than that, guys. I think I paid like 30 bucks shipped for the whole set of floor mats. So I'm gonna go grab those. We'll yank these old ones out, and then we'll get on the road with this thing. Now that we've got the floor mats in, and guys, like I said, I think they look way nicer, and they stay clean longer, even though that one has a section that probably won't stay that clean. But let's go for the maiden voyage in this. Now, something to consider, guys, anytime you do any kind of motor work, transmission, anytime you touch anything, you're gonna smell that. So don't be alarmed if you smell any kind of coolant, because obviously when we took the heads off, the coolant ran down, and that's just something that I tried to clean off the best I could, but you're gonna smell that. The other thing you're gonna smell is every time you touched a header, all those fingerprints and stuff, that's all gonna burn off. So it's pretty normal to see a little bit of smoke and stuff. The main things you wanna watch are obviously your oil pressure, which we didn't really mess with anything there. But the voyage that I'm gonna take here, I'm gonna go get my wife for lunch, and we'll see which car she likes better. Obviously now we have the cts-v, and I told her, I think that, honestly guys, now that I've driven the cts-v in this back to back, I just drove this down the road, but I think she's gonna wanna keep this car. But we'll see. Like I said, I'm gonna go pick her up for lunch, and we're gonna drive probably about 20 miles total and make sure everything's good. Let's start this thing up and listen to the new noises. Now it's still kind of throaty, obviously, because we kept the headers. Not quite as loud as it was before, and not nearly as choppy, but it still has some lope to it. That ZR1 cam's, it's a pretty good sized cam, to be quite honest with you, for a LS3. It's even pretty good size for an LS9, but let's hop in this thing and drive it down the road. So like I said, the things I'm gonna watch while we're driving it, obviously the temperature gauge. You really can't see, I don't think you can see oil pressure. You might be able to. Let's see. Of course, my phone decided to go crazy when I get in the car. Tire pressures, oil life. I don't think we're going to be able to see that. I probably should have hooked up my HP tuners, but we're going to go for it, guys. We're going to see if everything works out good. Like I said, go to lunch, get some miles on it, and then chances are I'm probably going to change the oil pretty soon. Anytime you do any kind of assembly lube, I don't like to keep that stuff in there for a gob of time. Obviously we use that to slide the new cam in, but I'll probably change the oil after maybe 100 miles or so, just to make sure all is good. And now that we're back to a stock cam, chances are I'll probably switch back to like Mobil 1. I don't know that I'll run that LS30 oil like you guys saw me do an oil change on this and put in it, but sounds good. Seems to be driving okay. And I'm not gonna rip on it, guys, none of that. So hopefully you guys weren't waiting for me to just cob on it. I'm just not. Once I get a few miles on it, we'll do that. And obviously we need to adjust the tune. The factory tune is not really set up for long tubes and a cold air intake and an LS9 cam, but we'll get it all tuned up once we're sure that everything's working like it should, which, like I said, I don't think there'll be any issue there, but this thing's dirty, but I'm trying to avoid mud puddles still. It's been raining like crazy here. We'll pull up beside my wife's cts-v and see. We'll get out and walk around the two so you can see them both together, even though it's disgusting dirty because of the rain. Oh, I hate those black wheels. We'll get out and walk around both of them. I don't know. I do like the front end of the Cadillac. don't get me wrong. I think the major things are different are the interior, guys. Obviously, they've came a long way in interiors from 2012 to 2017, and I really think that's what's going to sell her. But we'll see. She really likes this color, and she likes this car, so maybe she'll come out here in a minute and we'll ask her. Both great looking cars, though. I will say that. When I first bought this car, I thought it kind of looked like a Malibu, and now it's kind of growing on me. And no, it's not smoking, it's just really cold out, guys. So here she comes. Let's see if she kicks her feet off. Every time I vacuum a car, I've got all my kids trained to when we get in, they kick their feet off. So let's just see if she kicks her feet off. I bet she doesn't. We'll see.
Did you need to park back here?
Nope, she didn't.
What?
Kick your
my
feet off.
I'm sorry. You want me to open the door?
No, well now it's all dirty. It doesn't matter now.
Sorry.
So,
What are you doing?
I'm filming. What do you mean? I'm seeing which car you like better.
Does it matter?
I mean, it does matter because
really.
Obviously we'll sell the opposite one. So
Whatever you want.
why is it whatever I want? You're the reason we bought the Cadillac.
I don't care. It's a car.
Oh my gosh.
It's quieter.
It's definitely quieter.
Sounds better.
Alright, well, we'll keep driving, guys, and we'll check back in with her when we get back and see what she thinks. So we've been driving probably 15 miles total, and everything's good. So you can see that it's not overheated, which I checked the coolant a couple times. Like I said, I let it idle for quite a while, but everything seems to be going good, and she still has not decided which car she likes better, right?
Right.
You don't care?
No.
So I'm going to trade her. I'm going to take her Cadillac home, and she's going to take this, and maybe by the time she gets home we'll have an answer. But everything seems to be going good here. I'm always nervous the first couple of drives to make sure that, you know, I didn't miss something. I'm pretty good about double checking my work and not rushing things, as you guys could probably tell with me putting this back together. But oh, do you hear that brake squeak? Maybe another thing I need to work on. Anyway, we're going to switch cars, and we'll see when she gets home what she thinks is better. Oh my gosh. The seat is set to swing all the way up. It almost smashes me in the dash. Alright, so we're in the Cadillac. I don't know, guys. I mean, looks-wise, I think the Cadillac's a better-looking car. It's not that that's a bad-looking car, but I think the Cadillac's just a better-looking car from the outside. But interior wise, I mean, it's not. Honestly, it's not comparable. I mean, they're both great cars in their own right, but the interior is so much better in the newer one. Which, hey, it's a newer one. Not that this interior is bad, just not my favorite. So anyway, we're gonna take this home. Like I said, we'll wait and see what she thinks. Still got my service park assist. I need to figure that out. We'll take this back to the house. See what she thinks after driving it, and this one's got some squeaks here and there, as you guys could probably hear just then. And I'll question her when she gets home. Chances are she's not going to want to be on camera. She didn't know I was filming when she got in the car, so I just kind of surprised her. But I think that she'll still choose this car. Just from talking to her at lunch, I think that this is her favorite out of the bunch, even though the interior is dated in comparison to the other one. But we'll see. Okay guys, so here she comes home. So she drove the cts-v the first half of the day. She is in the SS for the second half of the day. What do you think she will pick? I know which one I would pick. Honestly, I swore that I probably would pick this one, but the more I drive that one, the nicer I feel like it is. And we'll hit her up when she gets out and see which one. Man, that car is good looking. I don't know. We'll see what she says when she gets out. Okay, so she's back. Which car would you get rid of?
I don't care.
If you had to pick right now, we had to sell one. Somebody's here. They want to buy one of them. Which would you sell?
I don't care.
This is terrible decision making.
I'm sorry.
This is terrible. Cam, which car do you like?
Which one?
Do you like that
one
car
or
or that car? Which car you like the best? The cts-v? You like that?
Yeah?
Or do you like the truck? Oh, you like the truck, yeah.
I want my bubble.
He just wants his bubbles. Okay, so there you have it. We have no idea. If it were up to me, I would probably keep the SS. I just think it's a better, I don't know, it's just a better all-around car in my opinion. But my wife loves the color, and I know it's really dirty. My wife loves the color of the cts-v, obviously, and I actually like the color as well. I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. But we are finished with the SS. It is running, it is driving. All we have to really do is, like I said, I'm gonna probably do an oil change in the next week or so after we put some miles on it. But as you can see, that frees up some room. Now, what are we gonna do? Well, I put the Corvette up on the lift just for now, just because I knew we'd be driving the SS around. But I think we're gonna slide the Trans Am either under on this side, put the Corvette under, put the Trans Am back up on the lift for now, and get my old truck up here. That is the plan. Maybe the Corvette goes in the basement and we bring the truck up to take the Corvette's place. I'm not really sure what the plan's gonna be as far as jockeying cars around, but as you can see, we have enough cars that we need to get rid of something. So something is going to be leaving. Like I said in the comments, let me know what you think it should be. Like always, guys, if you did enjoy this video, if you did enjoy this build, hit the comments, let me know. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button if you did like it. If you're not subscribed, guys, make sure you go down, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell icon. That way you're notified every single time we drop a new video. And, well, stay tuned to see what we buy. Probably not buy, but what we sell next.